In the first section of this chapter, we will be creating a new project from about 100 images, captured actually from a UAS. Now the images are located in the L2 data zip folder. But the first thing you want to do is on the desktop, let's create a project folder, which we're going to call, and I'd say put your last name so you know exactly who it is, and then an underscore Pix4D, and we'll have that folder created on our desktop. And then what we'll do is, and I should have by this time given you a zip file called the L2 zip file. I'll move this over to my desktop so you can see it. You'll either already have it on your desktop or I've given it to you, but just bring it over to your computer, and it's the L2 data, and that's the data that we're going to be working with. And then I'd open that zip file or extract that, and then what we're going to do is take this extracted L2 data, okay, and we're going to put it into that new folder that we have created, okay. Now once that has happened, then of course we no longer need this zip file up here, and we're going to get rid of that, get that out of the way. And if we look at our file that we've created, sure enough, we have the L2 data file in there, and if we open that up, you'll see two file folders. One's images, and the other one's the O2 project. If we look at the images, you'll see that sure enough, there's probably approximately 100 images in here. So we're now ready to create, or actually going to open up the Pix4D folder or file. And once this comes open, you'll enter your email or in your passwords that I've given you. And if it says to check your available license, it will do that. And then if it should go right, once that occurs, it should go right into the home screen is what you see here. At the home screen, you'll see that the present tab, you have three tabs right in the center here, projects, help, and demo project. It will default and actually show you the project file, which shows you the place where you can create a new project, you can open a project, and it will display or underneath that the most recent 4 projects that you have worked with. And we're going to talk about all this a little later. You'll see the help tab, and the help tab, when clicked, a number of things you can do here, including the video library down here, sample projects, knowledge base. This is a very direct resource for finding any technical help. The news down here is just the most recent related news, and also any related tips down here. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is we'll go over to the projects tab, and we're going to click the new projects. And you are prompted to give the project, say, a unique name. Okay, so in this particular case, since we're using the file of L2, let's call it your last name underscore, and then we'll do L2. That way we keep everything consistent. Now, and also be very careful to avoid using spaces or any special characters when you name a project. Do not accept what the default is right now. In fact, what we're going to do is we're going to go browse, and we're going to go over to our desktop, and we're going to navigate to the O2 project folder, okay? And we're going to highlight that folder, and we're going to go down here in the bottom and say select the folder, okay? And now what you'll see that when we work with this project, all that data is going to go into the O2 project folder. And we'll click next. Now what it's going to do, now we're going to add images. And if you remember, we're going to click the add image right there. Okay, and then we're going to go and we're going to find our way to the file that has the images, which is the O1 images. Okay, we click on that, and lo and behold, here is approximately 100 images. Now, to select all the images, okay, so we're going to do a Control A, and then what that will do, it will highlight all the images within here. And if you noticed, there's approximately 100 images here. And we're going to say Open, and this will transfer all the images into your project. Okay, and if you notice, just for confirmation, it says you got 100 images there. Now, continuing on, and we go next, under in the bottom. Now what you're going to get here is the properties window. Okay, you'll see information about the images, geotags, and a table for each image's latitude, longitude, altitude, etc. Okay, and you can scroll this across just to see what information that's available there. Now we'll explore this in more detail during the next chapter, but for now we can just click Continue by clicking the next button. The next window is the Output Coordinate Systems. Now this will determine the georeference of our deliverables. Okay, now we'll explore this in more detail during the next chapter, but for now we'll accept the default coordinates and we'll accept it as metric. So we'll go ahead and click the next button. The last window is the Processing Options template. Here we can choose a predetermined set of processing parameters called templates. Now, what we're going to do is look at the top ones, which says Standard, and we're going to select the standard 3D maps. So we'll highlight that. And what you want to make sure of is down here in the bottom right where it says Start Processing Now. Do not check that. Make sure that that box is clear. And we'll be going into this more in detail later on as well. Now we're ready to go, so let's click Finish to move on. Now with the completion of this, the map view opens. And here we see a satellite base map and the images that were captured for this project. Now you can click and hold your mouse. So if we just do a left click and hold the mouse down, you can see that we can move this thing around a little bit. And you can pan it. You can use the scroll wheel to move it in and out. Now the red dots that you see here represent image location. So there's 100 red dots out there and each dot is an image. And you can move, when you move your mouse over one of the red dots, you'll notice that it changes to a finger. And you click on one of these dots, okay, and you'll open one of the images of what you'll see here that is representative of that dot. Now, we're going to actually get ready to begin our processing of steps 1. So what we have to look at is down here in the bottom. We're only going to process. This is the processing area. And remember, we've referenced there are 3 steps within Pix4D in processing, and here they are. What we want to initially is that we want to uncheck 2 and 3, and the only one that's checked is the initial processing. So only the checkbox for step 1 should be checked. So let's click Start. Now you notice the software, by the way, has these 2 bars. Okay, one says current, the other one says total. The top one is a subset, and the bottom is the progress of the overall enabled step. Now once the subset finish, the overall process will be updated, meaning that right now it's set at 0 to 8, and it could be set at 1 to 8 when it's done. As you can see, if we jump ahead a little bit, we've seen that the first process was done, so now 1 of 8's finished. You got 7 more, and it will continue until it's finished. You will notice that when step 1 is complete, it turns green, and also a quality report is generated. Now this report appears after any step. Any of the 3 steps is run, but for right now we can dismiss it and we'll talk about it later. Also, another thing too is to notice that the view has changed from map view to ray cloud. So it was on map view, and now once the process was done, first thing that happens is the ray cloud view is shown. And views, of course, like I've just noticed, you can toggle them back and forth by enabling these buttons over here on the side. Okay, it's now time to discuss the ray cloud, and we look at this by looking at the tabs. The various tabs on the top left of the screen enable you to process. It also helps you to do file management, views task, and many of these tasks are found in tabs are also available as the tabs or the buttons on the top row right up here. If you look at the airplane view, the airplane view enables you to reset the zoom to a nadar view, or from 90 degrees vertical down, from wherever you are on the map. Now there's on the navigation tools, you'll see that there's various navigations that are available. We'll talk about these shortly. There's layers, okay? And the layers, if you notice this section here on layers, are important indicators for what the data has been processed and is available to view. Now you have the ability to view layers by just checking the corresponding boxes or unchecking them. Layers that are locked or grayed, if you notice, will become open after you have processed other steps in 2 and 3. But if you notice that we can actually take certain uncheck and it will disappear. The data view, which is the center part of what you're seeing, this is the black background where the data is visualized and manipulated. So this area is where you're going to be using most within the software. And we'll discuss this more in detail in the other chapters. The properties window, which is over in the far right here, every layer contains unique properties. For example, if selected, the coordinate values of an automatic tie point will be found in the section view within the properties. And we'll be talking about that as well. Now my goal is to get you familiar with using different buttons within the data view. Essentially, this is a play with it time. The more you build your hand-eye coordination and being comfortable, the more efficient you will be by using Pix4DMapper. So now let's do a few of these things. So use your mouse to turn off and off different layers. That's what we just did. So if you click on camera, all the cameras will go away, and here is the cameras back on. The rays you can't see too much on. We can actually do some controls. Okay, so now I have the shift and the mouse button, and then I can roll it in and out. So these are the things that you will want to practice on. Okay. So if we turn the cameras off, these are actually the cameras. These are represents the image that is taken. Now ensure you have the tie points layer checked as on. Okay. And ensure that the caret is expanded. So these are little carets that you can expand underneath. Okay. And by pointing them downward, it expands it. Now this unveils, of course, the GCPs, ground control points, and manual tie points. And here's the automatic tie points. So if we check that off, you can see that all those tie points, the little individual tie points, will disappear. Now, what exactly does automatic really mean? And what does it represent? It really represents the individual tie points. If you see a little highlight that it does, each individual becomes a tie point. It's an automatic tie point from the images. Now, hover your mouse into the black area over here of your data view, and we'll operate within a standard navigation mode, which is up here. That's the standard navigation mode, and this is a default setting. You can toggle between different navigation modes by clicking the appropriate button. So let's first do a few things down in here in this area. Let's click and hold the left button, and if you see, we can move this thing around. You click and hold the right button, and we can move in and out. Okay. And you click and hold both buttons, and your mouse move up and down, and you can rotate your data. So just by the mouse. The scroll of the mouse also it provides a dynamic zoom. Then you click your control wheel and then move it. Your mouse move. You'll notice that this provides the same rotational function as both buttons clicked. So there's two ways of doing this. So hold down the Shift key and click the left button at the same time, and notice that this also provides the rotation functionality. Now let's go back up here to navigation and click the center one. It's called the trackball navigation, and there's a trackball that surrounds the data, and you use the left click of your mouse to rotate the data. So I can actually rotate this thing around. The biggest difference between the trackball and the standard navigation mode is that the left click and both the button click functions are basically switched. So let's look at the first person view and enable this mode. That's this one right up here. And then you hold down a combination of W, A, S, and D on your keyboard. And that will enable you to pan around the data to a precise view. You can also zoom in and out by the scroll wheel. And the right button actually is disabled. The left click provides the same rotation. So there's a number of ways to do things. So this basically concludes this chapter. And the main thing to do is take your time to familiarize yourself with the project creation and the basic navigations of Pix4D. So you can go all the way back. If you want to delete your files and redo them again, fine. You'll be doing that with each chapter because each chapter will have a different data set. But being as is this just an introduction, there's no deliverables at this point for this chapter. Other chapters, there will be deliverables, meaning that you will have to do something and you will provide the instructor a deliverable at the end of that chapter. But your task for this chapter is to continue to play around with the Ray Cloud, Pix4DMapper, so that you are very efficient in preparation for the upcoming chapters.